Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day, the channel that keeps you up to date with all the goings on at Ibrox, all for the grand price of absolutely nothing. Our content is free. All you've got to do is hit that sub, ring that notification bell. And if you give the video a like, guys, it does help out. Well, we've got a bit to discuss and a bit to go over in this video this morning, this afternoon, or even could be this evening, depends obviously when you are picking it up. And remember, if you didn't check it out last night, you can still check out the Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast live with myself and Victoria that we did last night. That is last night as in Monday night. Guys, check it out. It is on the channel. Well, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about Scotland call-ups, which are congratulatory and also bloody terrifying. We're going to talk about the centre-back Hokey Cokey that could go on over the next couple of days. We put one in and we put one out and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not going to sing. Excuse me. We're also going to talk about the massive week that is coming up for Rangers with two absolutely huge games for the club coming up very, very soon this week, Wednesday and Sunday, and our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations, and our thoughts on those. But let's start off with those Scotland call-ups. Now, I know, guys, I'm English and I'm talking about Scotland. I do apologise. But you know what? I'm not an English fan that wants Scotland to, fail. I'm not that sort of fan. But I know there's a lot of Rangers fans that don't like Scotland. So, you know what? Who knows? Anyway, it was announced yesterday that John Souttar and Ryan Jack are in the Scotland national team squad for the upcoming games against Cyprus and England. Yes, I will be supporting England. Well, actually, no, I won't be, because I don't watch international football because it's boring and it's pointless. I only, Rangers is it. I don't care. If it's not Rangers playing, it's just a boring weekend. It's a waste of a weekend, isn't it? There's no Rangers football. What's the point? Anyway, John Souttar and Ryan Jack are in the Scotland squad for the forthcoming games against Cyprus and England. And obviously, we wish John and Ryan all the very best for those two games, even the second one. But by the equal tone, as great as it is to obviously see that recognition for our players, to see the recognition for John and for Ryan, it is equally terrifying. And why is it equally terrifying, you may ask? Well, it's equally terrifying because both John and Ryan have this horrible habit of getting injured whilst on international duty. And that's certainly not something we want. Obviously, especially John Souttar, given how influential he has been this season, how well he has played, and given the possible upcoming centre-back Hokey Cokey, we don't want to lose John Souttar. So I think the biggest prayer is, no matter what the results, I don't really care about the results, couldn't give a monkeys about what the results are. Like I said, international football is utterly pointless. I just hope that John and Ryan return to the Rangers squad fully fit and okay for Rangers to play for the only team that actually matters in Glasgow Rangers. But we do wish Ryan and John good health and all the very best. Now, look, guys, it's going to be a possible. That's what we're going to talk about. A possible, reported, rumoured, and maybe a centre-back Hokey Cokey. Now, it was reported in a number of media channels and seems to have been confirmed by the club. It comes from a reliable source in Chris Jack, that Leon King is going to depart the team on loan before the end of the transfer window. Now, reportedly, there are several English Championship and English League One clubs who are very interested in taking young Leon on loan for the season. Rangers feel that this is the way to get Leon the match minutes that he needs, to get him the experience that he needs to battle hard on him, ready to return to Rangers next season to possibly compete for a spot in the team. Now, he has obviously fallen down the pecking order a little bit at the club. He's behind, obviously, Connor and John, Leon Balogun, and even to some extent, Ben Davis. Now, what's happening with Ben? Who knows? Is he going? Is he staying? I don't know, guys. I really don't know what's going on with him at this moment in time. The interest from Championship clubs seems to have waned, but it does seem that there is a big interest in taking Leon on loan. Now, it's worth remembering that Leon played 15 times in the Scottish Premier League for Rangers last season. Not only that, he made 6 Champions League appearances in what was an absolute baptism of fire in a very much weakened Rangers team that had a awful time in the Champions League last season. He also made appearances in the Scottish League Cup and Scottish Cup as well. Now, this for young Leon, I think, is the best option. He's not going to get first team minutes at the club. B-team football and the 21 football is not the way forward for Leon, given the fact that, he's got experience already of playing first team football, 21, 23. There's about 25 games he played last season. So realistically, B-team football and under 21 football is either going to see a stagnation of him or certainly no move forward for young Leon. So best thing possible is to send him out on loan to battle hard at him. And certainly in the English Championship, or even possibly, unfortunately, in League One, he will certainly get that experience, the fight, the battle. The league, Championship and League One football is quick, it is speedy, it is physical, it is hard, and he certainly will get a good grounding there. So we wish young Leon all the best. Now, if Leon King leaves, that will leave Rangers with 4 top centre halves. Well, 3.5, I suppose, because Ben Davies is half. A lot of fans I know don't rate Ben. Now, there's still talk of Ben Davies leaving. This would, of course, kind of see a need for Rangers to strengthen at that centre-back position. I personally feel there is still a need to strengthen at the centre-back position. I think, relying on a 30-odd-year-old Leon Balogun is not the best way forward. Ben Davies, as you've seen, doesn't have the physicality or the area ability to cope in Scotland. You're then obviously hoping that Connor and John Souttar stay fit all season. Now, given the fact that, Connor missed a lot of football last season for the first time in a long time, and John Souttar obviously has that injury history, I think there is a need to strengthen the team. Now, we know about the Harry Souttar links that have been denied by the club, according to Stevie Clifford, yet Heart and Hand say they haven't, and the club are very much interested. And the story doesn't appear to be going away anywhere. By the way, apologies if you can hear my dog snoring in the background. He is just literally over there. But, Harry Souttar would be, I think, probably the best person to get hold of. He is a very talented player. He can play left-sided centre-back. He's big. He's physical. He plays international football. As pointless as it is, he did very well in the Qatar World Cup. He is a very talented player, and I think certainly someone who would add to our squad. But, like I said, this would only be a loan deal. There are 2 players who are rumoured to be linked with a move to Rangers. Now, the first one is this young man here, who is called Ronnie Edwards. Ronnie Edwards is an England '21 international. He is a young player, a very promising young player, currently at Peterborough United. Okay, yes, I know Peterborough are only a League One team, but Ronnie Edwards is certainly someone who has even been checked out by Premier League teams in England and Championship teams in England. Ronnie is from Harlow in England. He's 20 years old. He is a central defender, but he's only 5'11", so he's not the biggest of guys. He's made 80 appearances for Peterborough and 8 appearances for England under 21s, and won the European under 19 championships with England as well. He is a very promising, talented player. Now, Barry Fry, yes, we all know Barry Fry, crazy man that he is apparently demanding 50 million for him, which I think is just utterly ludicrous and very unrealistic. So Ronnie Edwards is one name that we've seen linked. A big guy, physical guy, a good player. Now, the other name that has been kind of bandied around has been a person that Rangers should really take a look at is this player here. Now, who is this player here? Well, he is Rob Holding. Now, the transfer guru, yes, Mr. Fabrizio Romano, so it must be true, has claimed that Arsenal centre-back Rob Holding is up for sale. He's 27 years old, and he has slipped down the pecking order after 7 years in North London. He was signed back in 2016 from Bolton Wanderers for £2 million. And Arsenal are apparently ready to strike a deal to sell him. Now, Arsenal have spent an awful lot of money this summer, in particular over 100 million on Declan Rice. But that's not just it. They have spent on players, on a number of other players, as they seek to go one better than last year and actually win the Premiership title and not choke at the end. Rangers could be well interested in a centre half, as we know. If those players, with King going out on loan and the possibility that Davies may still depart. Now, it is a fact that Holding is right-footed, but can play left-sided centre half. He is a very talented player. he's played at Arsenal where, ball possession, ability to play out from the back, ability to tackle and be physical is, a commodity they need. He has Premier League pedigree. Obviously, he's playing in the Premier League since 2016, and it's thought that Rangers could cut a cheap cut price deal for this player. Jake Cooper has signed a new deal at Millwall, so he is going nowhere. And obviously, the rumours around Harry Souttar are very mixed, whether he's going to come, whether he's not going to come. Are the club interested? Are they not interested? What else do we know about Rob Holding, other than the fact that he is, good in the air, that he's good on the ground? Yeah, well, he is called Robert Samuel Holding. He's 27 years old. He is from Stalybridge, England. He's 6'2". He's a centre-back. He's previously played with Bolton, 26 appearances, 1 goal, but has made 98 appearances for Arsenal, scoring twice. And in his young days, made 5 appearances for the England under 21. So could Rob Holding be an outsider for that centre-back spot if Rangers do indeed pursue another centre-back, which I do honestly think they do need to do. I suppose 27 is a little bit old, maybe, but centre-backs do have a certain longevity to them, don't they? So, maybe you can get another 4 or 5 years out of this player. Yes, I don't think there's any sell-on value, but look, at the end of the day, I know the trading model is in place, but you realistically, can't always have every player acquired been a player that you're going to then sell on for a big profit. And I think there's certainly enough players within this squad who could be described as future potential sell-ons for big profits. Talking of selling players on for big profits, a Glen Kamara update. Yes, the Kamara saga, it continues. Apparently, the Glen Kamara has agreed personal terms with Leeds, but the holdup is now over Rangers and Leeds agreeing a fee for the player. Reports indicated that Rangers are seeking 5.5 million for Kamara, which would represent a substantial return on their investment, their initial investment of £50,000. But I suppose you've got to take into account the wages that have been paid to Kamara over the years. It's been reported that they haven't settled on a price yet for Kamara, even though he is surplus to requirements at Ibrox. Now, at Elland Road, Daniel Farke, who is the new Leeds manager, does need midfield reinforcements before the transfer window closes, and has reportedly got bids in for Kamara and for Nadim Amiri of Fortuna Dusseldorf. And also Bayer Leverkusen, and for Dusseldorf's A.O. Tanaka. But apparently the Ibrox man, Mr. Glen Kamara, is top of his wanted list. Like I said, it is all down to the two teams now agreeing a fee. So the sooner that gets done, the sooner, obviously, Kamara can move on. With the transfer window coming down towards the end now, we are on the 29th of August. The window closes on the 1st at 11 p.m. Leeds have just 3 senior central midfielders in their squad at this moment in time, and they do need to acquire more. So Kamara is reportedly very high on their list. So there is a real desire to get this deal done, but it's just now come down to the fact that the two teams need to agree a price for the player. That is the stumbling block at this moment in time as a sort of game of bargaining goes on. If we can get 5.5 million for Kamara, I think it would return excellent business by the club. Well, we stand on the precipice, don't we, of an absolutely massive week for our club. Wednesday, we face PSV in Eindhoven before on Sunday we travel back to Glasgow, back to Ibrox to take on that lot from across the city in the first Old Firm game of the season. The game on Wednesday, look, you reflect on it. The pressure's on PSV, it's not on us. At the end of the day, most analysts expect PSV to win. You've got PSV ex-PSV players and Dutch legends talking on their chances, talking about how they're the best team, how they deserve to be, how, Rangers don't play good, have that ethos of being a decent team, yada, 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 whatever. You have to look as well at the media reaction to that last game in Holland. Peter Bos was under a lot of pressure by the Dutch media for his failure to beat Rangers at Ibrox. The pressure is all on them at the end of the day. And I think, if we can get the crowd to turn, if we can frustrate them early, we don't concede early, perhaps even get an early goal, we can get their crowd to turn on them, increase their pressure, and then I think they will struggle. Dutch teams historically, when you put them under pressure, do crack. You've only got to look at them in World Cups and European Championships. Yes, they've reached finals, but when teams like Spain, Germany, Argentina have put them under pressure, they have cracked. For me, qualifying for the Champions League is an absolute vital must for this club, as I said on the podcast last night, for a number of reasons. Number one, we cannot allow Celtic to continue to advance ahead of us in terms of revenue. They are in the Champions League. We gave them that free pass last year with our dreadful performances, and they're going to get Champions League money. We need to stay pace with them, so we need to get that Champions League to get that Champions League money. Yes, 15 million guaranteed from the group stages, and extra money from that Michael Beale can get his team organised and well and ready to play. And the fact that we're in pot C, not the last pot, means that we won't get that awful group of death that we got last Champions League campaign. But it's not just that. It's about prestige. It's about image. It's about selling the club worldwide. Champions League is a worldwide product. And if teams, if players, if fans, if people across the world see your team in the Champions League, they see your team doing well in the Champions League, it attracts more money, more revenue, more kudos, more prestige to your club. Now, I know Rangers are a huge club anyway. We are a massive club. I know that. But it attracts players to play for you. If they see you in the Champions League, if they see you doing well in the Champions League, they're going to want to come to you. And this is the last year of this current format. And we go with that very complicated, ridiculous format that UEFA are talking about for next season. So for me, it's vital on that lot. It's also vital on the fact we cannot just allow them to be in the Champions League and us fall down to the Europa. Europa League is less money. It's annoying as well. Thursday, Sunday, when you're constantly playing catch-up can have a negative effect on your team. For me, I'll be absolutely devastated and gutted if we don't make the Champions League. I think it is, for a club like Rangers, an absolute must that they play Champions League football every single season. Yes, I get it. The league is the priority, and I agree with that. 56 is the priority, but Champions League football will help us in the long run ensure that we get 56, 57, 58, and so on, because it will bring revenue and players to Ibrox. Like I said, players want to play Champions League football. They see your team in the Champions League. They see them doing well. They want to come. It sells the club worldwide. It is part of that future modern vision that James Bisgrove and John Bennett are very much about. Now, the Brazilian striker Danilo has been talking about his desire to play Champions League football. This is what he said to the media. He said, "The Champions League means a lot to me. It's a dream for me." And I think it's a dream for all players, and all the players and staff are very much determined to get there. I think, listening to what Michael Beale said. Now, Danilo has already had success in Eindhoven. He's been there with Ajax. He's been there with Feyenoord, and he had success with them. And I think for me, Danilo has to play on Wednesday night. I would start him ahead of Cyril Dessers. Danilo said, "The first leg at Ibrox was the first Champions League game I got to play in. Before I was only on the bench for Ajax. It's a dream, and I'm going to do everything I can to try and make that dream I had as a boy come true." For every young Brazilian kid, you watch the Champions League on TV, and this is what I'm saying about this world view of it. I want to play in it. When you hear the sound of that music, it's goosebumps. It's everything. It's you're so emotional inside with the adrenaline. So it means a lot to me. It's something special. I used to like watching Neymar in the Champions League. I also saw a lot of Gabriel Jesus. Everybody talks about me having the same qualities as him because I like to link up and look for the goal. So you can see what a worldwide dream it is to play Champions League football, how much it means to players like Danilo. He went on to say, "I watched a lot of the Brazilian players when I was younger. It would also mean a lot to my family. They've always talked about it and how they wish I could play in it. So I hope at least one time I can play in the Champions League. If we do it here, I'm definitely going to bring my family over. They will love hearing the sound of that anthem. It's the dream of my father. He could not be a professional footballer, but I'm glad that God gave me his talent so I can make his dream come true as well. When you're on the field and realize you're playing Champions League, it's something special." So I think, that shows that there is a desire, isn't there, within the players and within the team to progress to the Champions League. And, Danilo, I think, has to start on Wednesday. He did it last year. He scored against PSV at Eindhoven. He knows how to get around them. He knows how to beat them. So I think we need to draw on that experience. Sam Lammers, I think, is another possibility. Given the fact that Sam is ex-PSV, you always tend to do well against your old team, don't you? So, look, at the end of the day, I genuinely think and hope that that we can get through, and I think it's going to be an absolutely massive game. And Danilo is clearly talking up those chances. Okay, just finally to finish off with, this game comes Sunday. I mean, it is just such a huge week, guys. Such a massive week to be a Rangers fan, isn't it? With this game against that lot from across the city coming up. And look, they're bad at the moment. They haven't scored in 2 games. They don't appear to be happy. There appears to be a standoff between the manager and the board in terms of spending money. But there's a lot of talk about the fact that Rangers should win and Rangers should walk over them and Rangers should beat them. But it's a worry because, look, I'm not being negative here and I'm not being anti-Rangers here, but we all know that when the Old Firm games kicks off, it goes against form, doesn't it? Form goes out the window. We need to make sure we don't get complacent. We don't just expect to turn up and win. We go out there and we fight and we battle and we kick and we bite and we scratch and we claw for every inch out there. And we don't give up to them, because if we do go in with a complacent attitude, we're going to lose. And we can't. And look, how's that going to feel going into the international break if we lose to our biggest rival? It's not going to feel good, is it? And we need to make sure that we do not lose this game. Personally, if we do lose this game, I'll be absolutely devastated. I think, we've got a great opportunity to win a game that actually matters, that there's something riding on it. Yes, I know we beat them at the end of last season, and I know you can say that every Old Firm matters, but realistically, there was nothing riding on the game. For me, Kamara Roof must start. The guy is just the best goal scorer we have at the club, and maybe him and Dessers play up front together. Maybe Dessers could be his Heskey to Kamara's Owen, or whatever however you want to put it. Kamara Roof is by far the best striker. And for me, he has to start. Now, this is the lineup that I would start with against Celtic on Sunday. Jack Butland in goal, the same back 4 that I selected for the PSV game, with James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter, and Borna Barisic. A midfield 3, which I think is our strongest midfield 3, of Cifuentes, Raskin, and Jack. I think you give Cantwell a license to roam, to go wherever he wants, because he will hurt them and they hate him and they'll get after him and he'll cause disruption, amongst them. And like I said, they don't like him. So give him the freedom to go and annoy every single player. And then perhaps Danilo and Roof, or even Dessers and Roof up front. But I think Kamara Roof has to start for me. Kamara Roof has to play from the outset and give us at least 65, 70 minutes in this game, because I think that he will score. I think he'll hurt them. He is the best striker at the club. He's one of the best finishers in Scotland. For me, he has to start. Well, guys, it's a huge week. We need 2 wins. We need to be sitting there Thursday morning watching the Champions League draw with a bit of ownership in it, knowing that we're in Pot C, they're in Pot D, and PSV are out, and their arrogance has been thrown back in their face. I'd love to bring you a live stream Thursday morning and talk you over the draw. Of course I would. Let's hope it happens, guys. Let's fight this week. Let's get those 2 results. Let's get those 2 wins and show that we are Rangers and we fear no foe. Remember, guys, please smash the sub, ring that notification bell so you never miss out on any of the great free daily content. And as always, there's 2 things I really need you to do for me. Number 1, smash the like, it helps. And number 2, please always remember, we are the best.